Friends, you must have noticed that Bollywood, everywhere for last few days there is Bollywood. Since Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide, Bollywood is in news. And it appears today that it's like a war between haves and have-nots. And Sushant's death is the George Floyd movement of India. I have not spoken about it for a long time, but I think this debate is very, very important for 2-3 reasons. Number one, yes, there is a mafia. There is a huge mafia in Bollywood, and there are lots of mini gangs. But most of the gangs you don't know about at all. In fact, the gangs which run Bollywood, nobody talks about it, nobody knows anything about it. Therefore, I have decided to speak about them soon on my VRA TV. But before that, the gang which is always most visible, which you see every single time on TV here and there, is actually the Urban Naxal gang. And this gang has the same number of faces which wrote a letter in 2014 against Narendra Modi, even before he started contesting for Prime Ministership. These are the same people who started the intolerance debate. These are the people who created a fake Rohit Vemula debate. These are the same people, and don't forget Rohit Vemula debate, remember, I'll tell you later, was against the oppression, correct? Intolerance debate they started. Then they started this entire lynching debate, that lynching people is so wrong, and for that a certain kind of people are responsible, certain ideological group is responsible. Then the JNU thing happened, and then they started a debate that in this country dissent is being suppressed. There is no scope for dissent. There is no room for dissent. Then last year you saw against CAA they came out and they wrote lots of letters when the CAA bill came, and then they started saying that there is no inclusiveness. There is no secular nature of democracy in India, and they started blaming. And you will find that lots of people who were writing letters earlier, and these players of urban naxalism, then midnight they would wake up and they'll start abusing the Prime Minister. Sometimes they would abuse somebody. Then they started siding with people who were abusing Indian gods, I believe in absolute freedom of expression, so it doesn't matter to me. But there are lots of people who have faith in these gods and goddesses. So today I want to tell you something, why they are hypocrites and how I'm going to expose their hypocrisy. You will understand. Recently, one of the National Award winning actress, she spoke against the gang and the mafia of Bollywood. She said how they try to suppress the voice of outsiders and they work as a gang to corner that person to an extent that either that person has to quit the industry or go into depression, blah, 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 blah. You know rest. Since then, this entire Urban Naxal gang lobby have come out in full force. And what are they doing? They are intolerant to the dissent of this National Award winning actress. Correct? She dissented, and these people are trying to shut her voice. They're coming as a gang against her, bringing cheap things, old videos, all kinds of dirty politics they are playing against her. So they are intolerant. They do not respect dissent. Third, they are trying to oppress her. How this oppression takes place is when you collude with the media and lots of important voices which look like intellectual voices, all of them come together and they start a social media war against you by tweeting, retweeting, supporting, sharing, writing, creating a false logic. That's what they are trying to do. And false logic, a false narrative is their biggest weapon. Every time they do that. They did it when Rohit Vemula thing happened. What they did, his suicide, they used it to their advantage. They milked it, called him a Dalit suicide, a suicide which was symbolized with oppression of Dalits, which is so wrong because he wrote a suicide note. Sushant Singh did not. He wrote a suicide note in which He took the responsibility of his suicide. Not even once he said that. It was a political thing, which why he was cornered. These people milked it. They milked the lynching of akhlaq to their advantage and converted it into a national debate without even knowing and understanding what CAA was all about. They milked it to their advantage and created a fake narrative. In fact, most of these people who are today, this actress who's on a retweeting spree, she gave a speech in Azad Maidan of Bombay when she came down and journalists asked her why she is against CA. She said, because Gandhiji lives in our heart. One of the directors said, I just came here because everybody came. जैसे बंदर के डांस में सब लोग पहुंच जाते हैं, किसी का कुछ लेना देना नहीं होता उससे. Every single time they do that. When this Kanhaiya and gang in JNU, they said dirty things about Durga when they celebrated the brutal killing of 76 soldiers, CRPF soldiers in Bastar by Naxal people. When they started shouting Bharat Tere Tukde Honge, all these urban gang people went there and they said there should be scope for dissent. We should be allowed to dissent. Yes, I respect your bloody dissent. But when this actress is saying something, what's wrong with that? Why are you attacking her just because she's alone? All these have ganged up. The critic gang, the kitty gang, kitty party gang, all these, the cheerleaders gang, all these B to Z gangs. People who have destroyed the nice fabric of Bollywood. People who have corrupted it. All these Aram Nagar, so-called celebrated poster boy of indie filmmaking. I want to ask one thing, which indie film has he made? It is a fake propaganda they have created in colluding with their media people. All their films are produced by UTV, Reliance, the same Ambani they abuse all the time. They were in a partnership with that same Ambani's Reliance and they have been producing films non-stop. So Fase, you know what is Fase? Yes. So this has to be exposed. I am not against anybody, but this is going too far now. Let people speak. If somebody feels oppressed, let that person come out and say I am oppressed. What is your bloody problem? If a Dalit comes, if a minority person, if a weak person, if a poor person says that he feels oppressed and give me some voice for dissent, let it happen. Because you are the biggest advocates of dissent and intolerance and oppression and all that blah, 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 blah fake concepts of yours. Another thing is they always come in a gang. Naxals always come in a gang. Never ever one Naxal has gone to a village and killed a Adivasi. They always come in a force. And how they come? I know it. Strategically, it's a war strategy. They'll come from one side here, one side there in the dark of the night when they can't be seen. And they come from all the sides and suddenly gang up against one family of Adivasis. And then they are known for cutting the head of the family member. Then they would rape the woman and they will hammer the head of the little child. They take out the intestine and then they dance around it. These are such dirty people. These people are the ideological support of Naxals in the Adivasi villages who take out the intestine from the gut of a child and dance around it in a burning the intestine in a bonfire. These are the same people who do it ideologically, intellectually and symbolically. It doesn't matter whether they are in politics, in media, in policy, in bureaucracy or in Bollywood. क्योंकि धुएं का रंग एक है. See you, raise your voice. And please let this time the dissent win. Let us raise the voice against oppression and show them what is real intolerance. Real intolerance is what they practice. Come on guys, शुरू हो जाओ.